Hello and welcome to another Beer with Wraggy. So, um, today's Beer with Wraggy talking about would you sponsor a cask at a beer festival? It's an interesting thing. What brought it up is the good fellow Mr. Butman Beer Reviews is sponsoring a beer over at a Carlisle Beer Festival. And it begs the question, for a reasonable price, not too silly, there's but to help beer festivals, would you sponsor a beer? Then obviously get some feedback and some social media thanks for doing it, or sponsor a bar. In Nottingham, we've got Nottingham Craft Beer Festival. We've also got Camera, and you wouldn't do it on the bars that are brewery bars, the likes of in Nottingham. Craft Beer Festival is very difficult because it's all brewery bars, but the Camera Festival, where it's just where you've got brewery bars and then you've got the main bars. And I know that the Nano Bar at Nottingham Robin Hood Beer Festival is sponsored by Sawley Junction Micropub, and I think that's an interesting move going forward. And sponsoring a cask or a bar would be an interesting move. It may. You could have multiples. You could have hundreds of sponsors. But it's an interesting concept. For local trades, it's a way to get their name somewhere, people noticing that they're sponsoring. It helps pay for beer festivals, helps maybe reduce the price of tickets, and for that method. Would you do it at a Camera Beer Festival where Camera members get in free on certain days? That's an interesting. I don't know if Borman's one is a Camera thing or not. I'm not a member of Camera, never have been. It's just never appealed to me, Wraggy's Beer Reviews does his own campaign for real ale and campaign for local beers and that, and pays his way. Doesn't ask for any discounts. So, but it's interesting. It is interesting from that point of view. Is this something you do? There's people out there with businesses. I wouldn't have thought anybody singly would sponsor something, but some people might, for those who are a bit flush or just want to get their name, like a photo and I don't know, Georgie Best, whatever, sponsors this cask with a picture. Obviously, you still have the name of the brewery there, but a picture above. It'd be an interesting thing. I mean, you go to the beer festival. Look, mate, there's the beers, and you wouldn't have it on, say, one cask. You might have it on a few casks in a certain area, because casks will eventually run out of beer. But it's interesting. It's an interesting concept, and I think it could really work. Certainly, maybe not at Camera Beer Festivals, but at smaller beer festivals where it's a charity event and sponsoring. And obviously, me being me, I'll still go to the events anyway if I can. But that ability to open up to local, yes, we really are in tough times, but it's a way for local businesses to put a few quid into the beer festival, get a bit of recognition back for doing it, but supporting local. And is this a thing that should be adopted around the country? I personally think so. I do. I think it's a smart idea. I think it gets local businesses on board for not a silly price. Also helps pay for the beer initially. It builds bridges between beer festivals and beer festivals and the local, not only businesses but the local community. And yeah, I think it could be a sterling, interesting effort. Let's put it that way. Whoa, that's a cracking beer. Anyway, what do you think? Well, we'll get back onto the lives at some stage. The nights are starting to draw in. There will be a time where I'm coming down the shed, cracking the old gas radiator. Yeah, the gas fire back up the house, and maybe doing, once the home brew's back on. Once we're back on tap, I'll get the home brew sorted out. I might even brew some red wine, because red wine I can leave in barrels, and I can have a glass of red wine, maybe a pint, and yeah, do it that way. But yeah, that is my beer with Wraggy tonight. Be interesting to see what comes out of it. Do you think it's a good idea? Would you have it at camera events, or would you not have it at camera events? As beer reviewers across the nation, as beer, I mean, if I look around social media, on YouTube, I know there's quite a few people who do beer reviews. Some have maybe got more subscribers than me. I mean, I have no idea who has and who hasn't. I have no idea who's doing beer reviews and who doesn't do beer reviews. I only know the ones that I've heard of. And the only reason I've heard of them because of lives, sometimes because of drama. I'll keep away from drama though. I try not to get involved because I've got an opinion, and I'll always vent that bloody opinion. And try not to pee people off, but it is what it is. Sometimes you're always going to say something that winds somebody up, and but I do think that if you can, it's all about the means. If you've got the means to sponsor something, and by sponsor something, you're going to get something back. And that's the world of sponsorship, isn't it? And but also a little bit of recognition. I mean, you look around the world, there are beer reviewers, beer influencers. Instagram's absolutely chock full of bloody beer influencers. I'm bigger on YouTube, although in real life I'm still 5'8", 5'7". But on Instagram, there's lots of people who are a lot better than me that get in the eye numbers. Yeah, and I've seen how to do it, but I'm not going to give you any details. It's a lot of following involved. But there are people who, and maybe showing a bit of, but there are people across all social medias. And, there's a lot more people with, a few spare cash. And for them to see a beer or multiple beers sponsored by them, it's interesting. Or a bar sponsored by them. It's an interesting concept. Very, very interesting. We'll see if it happens, eh? I mean, it's like a pub. It's like a pub having a pub wall. And again, sponsorship from those in social media and those who are fans of the pub, say with beer festivals, sponsorship from fans, because there's a lot of people with the ability to sponsor. There's a lot of people who've got no ability whatsoever. Fair play. But then there's the ability to gift somebody a sponsorship. And yes, I know it kind of commercialises things, but the beer festival's already commercialised. It's about making about like a personalisation. It's an interesting thing. I love to hear the comments, good or bad, you know. And fair play to Greg, Form Beer Reviews, you know. What he's doing for Carlisle, absolute fair play. But it's interesting. Cheers all. I'll throw that one into the ocean.